Hello everyone! Iron Valiant has been a controversial Pokemon in competitive singles for a long time, and I'll soon go over why, but first let's talk about Iron Valiant's traits and its place in the OU metagame. For those of you that don't know, Smogon is the main governing body of competitive Pokemon singles, and divides Pokemon by usage into playable tiers, with OU or Overused at the top, with the strongest and most used Pokemon. Iron Valiant is an extremely popular Pokemon in the OU tier. At the time of making this video, it's number 6 in monthly usage, and this is not unusual. It typically hovers in the range between number 8 and number 3. Iron Valiant has fantastic Fairy and Fighting typing. Both types are bad against Poison, but Fighting does a good job of covering Fairy's other weak points, particularly Steel. This typing is also great for 4 times resisting Dark, which is very relevant since Kingambit, a consistent top 3 usage Pokemon, has such powerful Dark moves that it can often easily muscle past 2 times resists. Iron Valiant's ability Cork Drive is great as well. This allows Iron Valiant to boost its highest stat, either speed, attack, or special attack with electric terrain or booster energy. Pincurchin, the only Pokemon with Electric Surge, is absolutely terrible, and so electric terrain teams are generally considered unviable. Still, Iron Valiant is arguably the best booster energy user out there. No other Pokemon can use 3 different stat boosts so well. Its stats are what make this possible. With amazing 116 speed, 120 special attack, and 130 attack, you don't need to drop any EVs to give Iron Valiant a speed, attack, or special attack boost. All you have to do is change the nature. It has decent physical bulk for an offensive Pokemon with 74 HP and 90 defense, but the truly terrible 60 special defense leaves a lot to be desired. Fortunately for Iron Valiant, all strong priority moves in OU are physical, with the exception of Raging Bolt's Thunderclap, so for fast offensive Pokemon, physical defense is much more important than special defense. But Iron Valiant doesn't just have great stats for attacking and special attacking, it has a move pool that fully enables it as well. They hooked this Pokemon up with everything. It has the obvious moves, of course, like Moonblast, Close Combat, Aura Sphere, and Focus Blast, the stab moves. Then it has great options like Knockoff and valuable coverage like Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, and Ice Punch. They also gave it Psychic and Psyshock, which is great for hitting the poison types it would otherwise struggle with. And then it also has a ton of obscure coverage moves. Grass Knot, Liquidation, Fire Punch, Poison Jab. They even gave it priority with Vacuum Wave and Shadow Sneak, which booster special attack and attack sets, respectively, make very good use of. But that's not all. They gave it great setup too, with Calm Mind, which boosts special attack and special defense by 1 stage, and Swords Dance, which boosts physical attack by 2 stages. And yet, that's still not all. They proceeded to give it amazing utility moves as well, like Encore, Taunt, Trick, and for the cheesers, Destiny Bond. They gave this Pokemon everything, and it uses all of it well. I've been playing competitive Pokemon for nearly 10 years, and I have never seen another Pokemon that can pull off so many sets so well. Iron Valiant is completely unmatched in this regard. And this is where the problem comes in. You've heard this story before. Insane set variety, great setup moves paired with Terra. It's a recipe for disaster. A lot of people have an issue with setup Iron Valiant. Choice Specs, Band, and Scarf sets have avoided any significant amount of hate. Once you don't see Booster Energy activate, you know you're probably not getting swept. Iron Valiant needs Booster Speed to be a truly threatening sweeper. Without it, it's just not fast enough, and it's quite easy to revenge kill. Although Vacuum Wave and Shadow Sneak can be nice, they're nowhere near the power level of priority like Kingambit Sucker Punch or Dragonite Extreme Speed, and thus they can't be used to kill Pokemon that threaten to outspeed and KO Iron Valiant. The problem is that Booster Energy makes up the vast majority of Iron Valiant. Choice sets make up only 13%. 77% run Booster Energy, and 90% of all Iron Valiant are running a plus speed nature. So you may say, what's the problem? It seems like, thanks to booster energy, Iron Valiant quite clearly displays what set it is. It's not as if you'll expect Choice Band and then suddenly get outsped by booster speed. You can immediately see the speed boost when Iron Valiant enters. The problem is that, even once you see Iron Valiant enter and booster speed activate, there are still dozens of possibilities. The first and most important question is whether or not it's setup. Some just run 4 attacks, or 3 attacks and Encore. These sets are very solid, but nobody's complaining about them as much as setup variants. 50% of all Iron Valiant run either Swords Dance or Calm Mind, though, and we can assume that setup is more common on booster speed and not used at all on choice sets, meaning that probably around 60% of booster speed Iron Valiant will be setup. So, to be safe, you'll want to assume the Iron Valiant you're facing may have Calm Mind or Swords Dance. But which one? Iron Valiant's incredible special attack and attack make this a bit of a guessing game. If you go into a physical wall as Iron Valiant uses Calm Mind, you're in a bit of a pickle, and even worse if you go into a special wall and see a Swords Dance come out. But even if you get that right, you may very well still lose. Terra Steel substitute Calm Mind sets can absolutely farm Galarian Slowking and use it as setup fodder. Terra Electric Thunderbolt will blow past your Moltres with no problem. A +2 Terra Dark knockoff will make short work of your Petramunt. Even switch-ins that are usually seen as safe, like Iron Moth, could just get killed by a Psyshock. Maybe you go into Dragonite, trying to kill Iron Valiant with a couple Terra Normal Extreme Speeds when it turns into a Ghost type. And worse, it might Encore and lock you into Extreme Speed. The same Terra Ghost set will destroy your Gholdengo with Shadow Ball. Maybe you have a Gliscor with Toxic. That can take a boosted Moonblast and any Swords Dance hit at +2, except that Ice Punch came out and just randomly KO'd you. You get the idea. Even among just booster speed variants, this thing has practically infinite sets. Here are the Terra type usage stats for Iron Valiant. This thing has 8 somewhat popular Terra types, with the most popular being at only 28%. Fairy. On top of that, team composition really isn't a hint as to what it might be. Anyone who claims they can tell an Iron Valiant set from its teammates is lying to you. It just can't be done. For the background footage you're watching right now, I took a fairly standard Aurora Veil team I made and slapped on tons of different Iron Valiant sets. And they all worked pretty well. My opponents have no idea what set I am. Sure, there's probably a set that's optimal for this team and works best with the other Pokemon, but a lot of teams aren't optimized that much. In Generation 9, where Terra and Surprise sets are a major factor, having a known team is a bigger disadvantage than ever. So teams get thrown in the trash a lot. Even at absolute top-level tournament play, many non-optimal teams are used. So you can't just count on your opponent being an expert team builder and sleuthing out what the Iron Valiant is. It's an incredible sweeper, and many have made the claim that it gets to choose its counters, meaning, based on the coverage and Terra type it runs, it can get past practically anything that would normally be considered a solid switch-in. And this is quite true. It makes complete sense why people have a problem with Iron Valiant. But that's actually not the point I'm trying to make in this video. I think Iron Valiant is extremely healthy, and it's one of my favorite additions in Generation 9. There are a few key factors that make Iron Valiant a much less broken sweeper than Pokemon like Roaring Moon, Dragonite, Kingambit, Volcarona, and Gouging Fire. The first is lack of strong priority. It may seem like an Iron Valiant, particularly with booster speed, doesn't really need priority with how fast it is. But the fact that all it has are puny 40 base power priority moves, Vacuum Wave and Shadow Sneak, this is actually very relevant. That's because Iron Valiant can't use this to outpace other priority users. Imagine if every time you tried to kill an Iron Valiant with Rillaboom Grassy Glide, Scizor Bullet Punch, or Raging Bolt Thunderclap, you just got KO'd first by like an 80 base power fighting type extreme speed. Iron Valiant is super fast, and it doesn't need to priority to avoid revenge kills by faster Pokemon in the way Kingambit does, but if it had strong priority, it would absolutely use it to outspeed and kill other priority users. Even moves like Sucker Punch would be fairly menacing on Iron Valiant with Terra Dark. Even if it wasn't popular and was rare to see, it would still make priority like Rillaboom, Scizor, and Raging Bolt unreliable in answering Iron Valiant. Now, of course, Iron Valiant can use Vacuum Wave and Shadow Sneak, but these are pretty terrible options on booster speed sets. They just don't do much damage. They're much more effective on booster attack and special attack sets, but as I said earlier, these sets give up a lot of speed and make themselves much easier to revenge kill by conventional means. Any fast Pokemon will do. So, as it currently stands, priority is a great and consistent way to deal with Iron Valiant. Even after Terra Steel, Iron Valiant is taking loads from Rillaboom Grassy Glide and Scizor Bullet Punch. Raging Bolt has to be a bit careful with Thunderclap, especially against Calm Mind or Encore sets, but even with a few Calm Minds up, Thunderclap is still doing massive damage, thanks to Iron Valiant's poor special defense. Even weaker priority moves like Ceruledge Shadow Sneak, Samurott Aqua Jet, and Weavile Ice Shard are doing a solid 25 to 30%. Dragonite Extreme Speed is a great tool as well, if you can force the Iron Valiant to Terra and see that it's not Terra Ghost. And of course, there's the GOAT, Low Kicks. There are so many crazy sweepers in Scarlet and Violet OU that priority is already abundant. There would be priority users everywhere with or without Iron Valiant, so it's not like it's forcing the meta to revolve around it. Another reason Iron Valiant isn't that broken is its bulk. Think about some of the broken sweepers like Kingambit, Dragonite, Roaring Moon, Gouging Fire. These are all seriously fat Pokemon with massive HP and defense stats. Iron Valiant isn't terrible, but it's not great either. Almost everything in the tier can one-shot or two-shot Iron Valiant, so usually you can just attack it as it sets up with whatever you have on the field, and finish it off with your priority user, which, as I said, almost all good teams should have priority anyway, not just specifically for Iron Valiant. Another major factor is that Iron Valiant doesn't have recovery. It can't boost up with a Calm Mind on a special Pokemon and start clicking Recover or Slack Off or something. It has no way to heal itself outside of Rest, which is of course terrible on such a frail Pokemon. It doesn't even get Draining Kiss. It does technically get Drain Punch, but that's a pretty poor option when you have access to close combat. Basically, when you hit an Iron Valiant, that damage is here to stay. Consider sweepers like Roaring Moon, Gouging Fire, Dragonite, Volcarona. Would any of these sweepers be even close to as broken as they were without recovery? I think not. Roaring Moon wouldn't have been banned if it didn't have Roost. Gouging Fire likely wouldn't have been banned if it didn't have Morning Sun. The last reason Iron Valiant isn't broken is that it's simply not that strong. 130 attack and 120 special attack is good, don't get me wrong, but compare that to sweepers like Roaring Moon and Gouging Fire that had similar stats but ran booster attack. Iron Valiant just isn't all that. Even after a Swords Dance or Calm Mind, there are still a lot of Pokemon that can take at least one hit, like Landorus, Gliscor, Pecharunt, Goldengo, Primarina, Clefable, and Alomomola. And there are plenty more that can survive a hit without a boost. So, as I said earlier, you can often just attack Iron Valiant with whatever you have on the field and pick it off with priority. So, Iron Valiant isn't that strong, isn't that bulky, lacks strong priority, and has no recovery. It makes it much easier to deal with and much more reliable to handle it, even when you don't know its set or its Terra type. But I didn't just say Iron Valiant wasn't broken, I said it was healthy. The reason for that is that Iron Valiant is a team builder's best friend. Well, maybe Great Tusk, but Iron Valiant is at least a team builder's second best friend. It provides so much utility. A reliable backup answer to Kingambit, thanks to that 4x Dark Resist. A Dragon immunity, so Choice Specs Raging Bolt and Dragapult can't spam Draco Meteor on your team. Speed control if you use a Booster Speed or Scarf set. A Breaker with Choice Band or Specs also providing solid priority revenge killing with Vacuum Wave. It's awesome on Sticky Web with Booster Attack or Special Attack. It can be a great knockoff user on Hazard Stack teams with mixed sets. In particular, it's very good at pressuring Stall. Earlier in the video, I discussed how Iron Valiant can pick its own counters. This is true, but this is part of what makes it so great in the team builder. If your team is struggling with a certain Pokemon, you can add an Iron Valiant set that handles it, strengthening your team, all while having all that aforementioned utility. Iron Valiant matches up well into a lot of top usage Pokemon, like Dragapult, Kingambit, Great Tusk, and Zamazenta. But it doesn't invalidate any lower tier picks, unlike more toxic presences like Ogerpon Wellspring. Archetypes like Rain and Pokemon such as Azumarill, Quaquaval, and Manaphy are all massively hurt by Ogerpon Wellspring's presence. But Iron Valiant isn't hurting anything. It's simply a great, versatile, interesting option that isn't overbearing or meta-defining, nor is it putting strain on team building. The Pokemon that are healthiest in the tier are the ones that aren't a nightmare to prepare for in the builder, and they do a lot for your team. This is exactly what Iron Valiant is. In many ways, it's the perfect offensive Pokemon. It has a diverse move pool, it's one of the very few Pokemon that can pull off mixed sets well, and it has great offensive stats, but it's not too much. They didn't give it base 160 special attack and 150 speed or anything like that. It also has serious limitations: mediocre bulk, and no way to heal. Now, of course, you will lose to Iron Valiant sometimes. Any sweeper can have some nonsense Terra set that destroys you. Sometimes you'll go into your Galarian Slowking and use Thunder Wave, and the Iron Valiant will turn out to be Terra Steel substitute. Sometimes you will go into your Moltres and get ruined by Terra Electric Thunderbolt. Sometimes you'll go into Scizor and get caught on the switch by a Fire Punch. It happens, but not very often. Compared to sweepers like Dragonite and the late Roaring Moon, the percentage of the time that you'll just lose to an Iron Valiant because of an unexpected set is very, very low. It's just a much more limited and balanced Pokemon. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. Also, let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. Do you like Iron Valiant as much as I do, or do you think its set variety is too much? Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.